MS Dhoni's international debut is one that his biopic immortalized. But do you know the story behind it? 2004 was an interesting year for Indian wicketkeepers. Rahul Dravid, who had been the team's makeshift wicketkeeper for a while now, had made it public that he wanted relief from the wicketkeeping duties, which were supposed to end after the World Cup. For MSD though, the year didn't begin on the brightest of notes, as his Ranji numbers opening the batting for Bihar were far from impressive. He had only managed to amass 214 runs at an average of 26. It also didn't help that Bihar themselves had a pretty dismal campaign. Remember, at this point, Mahi was 23 and had also missed out representing his nation at the under-19 level. Meanwhile, an 18-year-old Dinesh Karthik had been making all the right noises, scoring 438 runs at an average of 43.8 in his second Ranji Trophy season. DK was living up to the promise he had shown in the tournaments preceding it. Dinesh Karthik was the wicketkeeper for the India under-19 side that played in the World Cup in February and March earlier that year. He even captained the side in the semi-final against Pakistan in Ambati Rayudu's absence. In the same tournament, DK also played a DK-esque knock of 17 not out from 39 from number 6 to take India to a mammoth 316 in a match against Sri Lanka, which India went on to win comfortably. But in January 2004, the Deodar Trophy, a 50-over tournament between different zones, saw East Zone's opener MS Dhoni emerge as the highest run scorer of the tournament, scoring 244 runs at an average of 61. Now, what's happening in Indian cricket at this point? India persisted with Partha Patel in tests after handing a debut at 17 in England the previous year. But the youngster from Gujarat was yet to cross the 50-run mark in his first 12 tests, and when he finally scored one in his 13th test, his wicket-keeping almost cost India a historic series win in Australia. Yes, we're talking about the Sydney Test of 2004. In ODIs, Rahul Dravid continued to keep reluctantly. It didn't help his cause that Parthiv just couldn't get going in the shorter format whenever he got chances, which, in all fairness, was sporadic. Also, Dravid, the keeper, brought a balance to the side that just couldn't be achieved with any other combination. However, then came yet another historic series, India's first tour of Pakistan since Sachin's debut. Rahul Dravid went on to have a fantastic tour with the bat and the gloves. Parthiv also managed to up his game in the tests with scores of 62 and 69 against a fiery Pakistan pace battery. This, coupled with DK's rapid rise, meant that a call-up to the national side seemed distant for MS Dhoni at this point of time. But the fortunes of skipper Sourav Ganguly and Team India were to change dramatically post the successful tour of Pakistan. India lost the Asia Cup in Sri Lanka, where keeping proved extremely taxing for the 31-year-old Rahul Dravid. Partha Patel even played a couple of matches, but India went on to lose both of them. India, in fact, later also ended up losing the final against host Sri Lanka in Colombo. Interestingly, another squad was announced on the same day as the Asia Cup squad, and this was for India A's tour of Zimbabwe. The tour was to include 3 first-class matches and a List A game. Dinesh Karthik had been selected as the wicketkeeper for the tour. Mahendra Singh Dhoni had also been amongst the selected names. The first match of the tour saw Karthik play, and he notched up a stroke-filled 96. The second match features DK and MSD, and both of them chip in with crucial contributions. A 57-ball 52 for the former and a 48-ball 45 for the latter. Remember, this series is running parallel to the Asia Cup, where Parthiv once again failed to contribute with the bat. Post the Asia Cup loss, the Indian selectors decided to go for the jugular. For India's upcoming tour of Europe, which included 3 one-day tournaments, a tri-series against Australia and Pakistan and Netherlands, a series of 3 ODIs against England, and the Champions Trophy, they bring Dinesh Karthik to the national squad, while he was still in Zimbabwe with the A team. Karthik's rapid rise was now complete. He had a good season for Tamil Nadu with the Ranji Trophy, and he'd impressed everyone with his attacking game at the under-19 level. And now his performances with India A had helped him receive a call-up to the national side. But this is where things take a turn. DK leaving for Europe meant that MSD became a certainty for the triangular trophy slated to happen between Pakistan A and Kenya in Kenya. We'll save what happened in the rain-wrecked Tri-Series in Netherlands for another episode. But for now, Karthik had to wait longer for his debut as India suffered the ignominy of not even making it to the finals. Elsewhere, in the hot and humid conditions of Kenya, Dhoni toyed with Pakistan's 8 bowlers, which also included Riaz Afridi, the elder brother of Shaheen Afridi, and the most successful fast bowler of the Under-19 World Cup that year. With 362 runs in the series, including 2 centuries against Pakistan A side led by Misbah-ul Haq, Dhoni made it hard for the selectors to overlook him. Karthik would play only 2 ODIs on the entire tour, which was a fairly disappointing one for the touring Indians. They lost the Tri-Series, the ODI series against England, and bowed out of the Champions Trophy in the league stage itself. DK was also part of the Indian squad that lost to Pakistan in November, a game played to celebrate the BCCI's Platinum Jubilee. The match turned out to be the last time Rahul Dravid wore the keeping gloves for Team India. They added another block to their hat as they went on to lose to Australia in a series of 4 tests at home. Partha Patel's fumbles behind the stumps necessitated this replacement, and DK was handed a test debut on a minefield of a pitch. India then capped their year off with a tour of Bangladesh for a series of 3 one-day internationals and 2 tests. The selectors went with Karthik as their test keeper, but MS Dhoni's strong performance in Kenya did not go ignored, as the selectors picked him as their first choice wicketkeeper for the one-day international side. And that's the story of how Dinesh Karthik's early selection in hindsight ended up being a springboard for Dhoni's international career, and a career which would go on to reach the dizzying heights of fame. That's all we have in this episode of cricket.com Classics. Comment below with what other stories you want us to narrate going forward. Until then, have a great week. Subscribe if you're new and like this video because it helps with the algorithm. Cheers. Talk to you soon.